Jake, just start out. Just tell us how fall camp's going for you guys so far.
Yeah, going good. I think we've had, good, I guess, almost 2 weeks now. Like any start of a season, you got growing pains to start out with. Guys are trying to shake off, some rust from the summer, and you got new guys adding in there and, kind of moving guys around to figure out what gels the best. So got the communication part kind of figured out, and I really feel like the last 4 or 5 days we've made some really good strides. We still, obviously with 2.5 weeks left to go to game day, we still got work to do, but I feel good about where we're at and feel good about the mentality that we've set forth, and that's a testament to our guys, and specifically some of those 6-year guys like Stutz and Gunner and Avery and Jaleel that have really done a good job, kind of pulling everybody along with us. I talked to them over the summertime and asked them what their goals were as an offensive lineman, and now it's my job to hold them to that standard and keep us at that standard every day, every practice, every meeting. So,
your guard positions, you got 4 or 5 guys or so competing for 2 spots. Anybody stepping up there yet?
Yeah, I think Stutz has had a great camp, just like in spring. I think he's done a really good job stepping in there and big dude. He's 340 pounds. He's experienced. He's smart. His football IQ is really high. So he's done a really nice job. Jaleel Irvin's done a really good job too the last 3 or 4 days there. Really stepped up, which has been a really, really good presence for us. And then Jeremiah and Tate on the other side battling it out. They've both done a really good job, done really good things. They're both competitors, and the toughness level is there for both of them, so they're both growing as well. And, Jeremiah, having not practiced in the spring, he didn't get any reps there. And then Tate getting hurt, I think, in practice 5, not having a ton of reps there. Both of those guys are starting to gel and starting to figure it out. So I'm certainly excited about the depth that we've created at those 2 positions.
Talk about Stutz. He's been here for a long time. Hadn't been a regular starter yet, but now he's in a position to. What does that kind of say about him being a 6-year dude? You finally getting this shot and taking full advantage.
Stutz means a lot to me. In today's world where it's so easy to leave and go other places, he stuck it out, and he's been through good and bad here. And in our room, man, there's not a bigger presence for what it means to be an Auburn offensive lineman. His just every day when he gets in there, he's first one in, last one to leave, taking care of his body, and the trials that he's been through, injuries and coaching changes, and trying to find his way for him to stick it out and still be here. That alone means the world to me as a coach and to the rest of those guys. And it's setting a great example for the younger players. Like, hey, if you don't get what you want year 1, you don't get what you want year 2, stick it out, keep working, and it's going to fall in your lap if you work hard enough for it. So he's been a big-time factor to us on and off the field.
He's at right guard?
He's at right guard, yes, sir.
Have you seen the guys like D-Wade and Avery and Gunner who were here in the spring? Have you seen them kind of progress this fall?
Yeah, so, I'll start with D-Wade. D-Wade in the spring, he comes out there and he's a great athlete, so he's kind of out-athleting everybody. But as he's started to face better competition, he's really honed in on his technique and playing with better pad level, better hand placement. So he's really devoted himself to that part of his game, because now he can pair up technique with athletic ability, and I think he's got a chance to be a really good one. Gunner is he's in my mind, he's a pro in every sense of the word. He takes care of his body. He does the technique we teach him to do. He's always up there watching extra tape because he knows he wants to be perfect in that area of his game. He's grown just in terms of his overall knowledge of how to communicate with everybody, what we're looking for. He's the type of guy that he wants to know what formation we're in. He wants to know what the receiver's doing, what depth this route's at. He's always been that type of guy, and he's kind of flourishing in that way. And then Avery, just being more vocal. He's done a really good job this camp of being vocal. In the spring, he was trying to get comfortable, trying to find his place. Being a new guy, even though he's a 6-year guy, he's trying to, establish himself. And I feel like he's now trying to be more vocal and more in tune with being that vocal leader there in the middle because we're putting so much on his plate at center.
Talk about the 2 new guys now with Cinda and Muskie. How are they fitting in?
Yeah, so Muskie obviously with us all summer. Tough, physical, really starting to develop his footwork. Done a really good job. Versatile. I think he can play 4 spots for us. Just trying to find the best spot that makes him comfortable to continue to develop his mental knowledge of the game. But he's done a really good job through camp. I'm excited about him. And then, And then Dylan, you know, it's been a whirlwind 2 weeks for him, you know, leaving his previous place and coming to us. And, you know, the first day he's here, he's, you know, filling out all his paperwork, and the next thing you know, he's in meetings and practice, and he don't know. I mean, at his previous school, the way we called passes was the way they called runs, and so he's trying to flip everything in his mind, and he's really done a good job. He's a tough physical kid, and he's something that I think we can build our future off of with him there. So I'm excited about both of those guys.
There was a lot of attention on Connor in the spring. Just in the fall, what have you kind of seen from him kind of taking that next step as a true freshman?
Yeah, so when Tate went down in the spring, we pumped him out there to guard. He did a good job. He was kind of relying on everybody around him to help make the calls for him when he was playing guard. Now transitioning in there to center, he's making all the calls himself, and he's becoming more consistent with that and more confident in what he's doing. That's the biggest part of his game that I think he's improved on. And obviously, with being a freshman, he's 17 years old. He's learning how to, you know, be a college football player, learning how to take care of his body, learning how to practice, how to take meeting notes, how to watch extra tape. So he's growing every day that he's in the building. So he's got an extremely bright future ahead for us, and he's going to be a big factor this fall for us as well.
So at Ole Miss, you had Michael Pettis start for you, a freshman, right?
Yeah.
What's your philosophy of guys like that starting, playing,
Yeah.
like you role, young guys like that?
Yeah, so, last year at Ole Miss, both my tackles were both freshmen. And over the past couple of years, you know, I've had freshmen play for me. I've had a bunch of young guys earn all conference honors, and for me, it's the best 5 guys will play. And it doesn't matter if they're 6-year seniors or true freshmen. I got to put the best 5 guys out there, and it's not a spur of the moment decision. Like we don't wake up one day and say, well, this guy's the best one. It's a body of work. How are they taking care of themselves? Are they communicating? Are they operating well in the walkthroughs? Are they taking individual time seriously? And so my philosophy is if you're the best one, you're going to play, and that's our philosophy as a team as well. So.
Coach said at SEC Media Days that you might have to change clothes at halftime.
Yeah.
You guys talked about that already?
Me and him have not talked directly about it, but I got a lot of phone calls and texts that day. So, but if that's what works, that's what works. I'll bring an extra pair of clothes. It doesn't matter. So if he's the head coach. So if he tells me to change clothes, I'll do it. So we'll roll with it. But that was I was watching it live in my office when he said that, and then about 5 minutes later, all my buddies were texting and calling me. So they thought that was pretty entertaining. So
How's this group respond to kind of the tempo that, you know, Philip and Coach Breeze want to kind of roll with?
yeah, they're it takes a little time to learn it. You know, even in practice in the spring, we're trying to install everything, so we're not playing as fast as we wanted to, and now we are. And so they've got to learn, and that takes practice reps. And it is a lot to do physically, but it's a lot to do mentally as well. They got to learn how to communicate fast, communicate clearly. There's no wasted words out there. They got to know exactly what to call and when to call it. They got to understand the defensive keys to get them into those calls. That's the biggest thing about tempo, and it relies heavily on that center. If we can get him, and they are both doing all 3 of them that play in that spot, they're all doing a really good job getting there. And we've started to play faster as they become more confident in what they're doing.
What have you seen out Too Tall? Is he pushing Gunner at all at that right tackle position?
Yeah, Too Tall's had a phenomenal camp. We watching him progress, getting stronger, body quickness, first and second step off the ball. He is definitely making his presence known out there, and he's doing a great job. He's being consistent, day in and day out. He has had a really good first 10 days. We'll see how the next 2.5 weeks progress, but he's doing a really, really good job.
Freeze mentioned DJ Harris the other day. This is somebody who kind of caught his eye recently. You say about him, a super young guy.
Yeah,
For y'all.
DJ's doing a good job. He's very strong. He's very physical. Wants to be really good. He's developing the mental part of it. But he's had a solid camp. He's when he gets his hands on people, he does a good job sustaining blocks, working on his pass pro. It's gotten better. As he continues to develop, he's going to be a factor for us. He's done a really good job this camp.
How beneficial is the depth? You've talked about some of these guys, Muskie, Dylan, Too Tall, guys that can move around a little bit. Mm-hmm. Be backups or be starters for y'all. How beneficial is that with some of those guys that are really versatile?
It's huge because, this league is brutal physically. You're playing 12 regular season games with, 8 of those being conference games. and every week is physical in this league. You play A&M, and then you got to turn around and play Georgia, and then you got to turn around and play LSU. And so for us to say, okay, we're just going to stay healthy with the first 5 guys the entire year, that's not going to happen. And so those guys got to be ready to play. And so having guys that create depth, that can push for jobs, that's competition breeds greatness, and it's something that we've been able to do this camp. And so just got to continue to do that, continue to hone in. How much better can we get over the next 2.5 weeks, and then how much better can we get during the season? The growth process of an offensive line doesn't start when you kick the ball off versus UMass. It continues to develop all the way through the final game. And so I'm excited about what we have. We, like every group, like every team in the country, we got to continue to work and continue to get better. We're not where we want to be, but it's 2.5 weeks till game time, and we want to get there.
Go ahead.
That was it.
When you start talking with coaches, game plan, come up with a plan for the season, are you gaining any confidence in the running game? You know, the running backs, the offensive line, you got tight ends, you got some bigger wide receivers. I mean, how do you feel about that group?
Yeah, I'm certainly excited about the running backs. I think all of them have flashed. You know, Jarquez, obviously we know what he can do, but Damari's had a really good camp. Very dynamic, very explosive. In my mind, he's one of the most explosive guys I've been around. I've been fortunate to be around some good ones, but he's as explosive as everybody I've been around. Brian obviously adds a whole other dynamic to it. Sean's had a good camp. Coach Cadillac's done a phenomenal job with those guys. They're locked in, they're dialed in, they're reading it the right way, they're doing exactly what they're coached to do. So, and then tight end wise, all those guys are doing a solid job of, understanding where to go, who to block, the dynamic of what we're trying to do. So, yes, we are gaining confidence in the run game day by day. So, good stuff.
Tyler Johnson, what has he shown? True freshman coming in.
Yeah.
Potential there.
Yeah, he's got a chance to be good. He's a young guy, but struggled like any freshman the first couple of days. But really, because the room is so strong with leadership, he's done a good job of learning from them and learning what it's like to be an SEC lineman and growing in that way. And so he's made progress, and he's got all the physical attributes to be a really good player. So excited about his future.
What's your goal for the 2024 class in terms of numbers of how many you'd like to sign?
As many good ones as we can get, and then you also add in transfer portal too. There's different ways now to build a roster, and what we used to think was an unconventional way of doing it's now maybe the best way to do it. And so, we want to try to find the best players and never turn down a good O lineman. So that's kind of where our thoughts are.